Hello my fellow freedom builders, and welcome back to the channel and to a video that is all about Tesla and about if they can actually go to 22,000 from the area around $1,300 to $1,500 where they are now. Wouldn't it be nice if they went to $22,000 and we were all in on the ride? That would definitely be building freedom. However, I'm gonna split this video in two. I'm gonna look at the short-term possibilities. I had Tesla just until, was it Thursday or Friday? I think it was Friday here. I had it in my portfolio. I sold it. I'll explain to you later in the video why. And then I'm going to have a longer term view on Tesla later in the video, where I'm going to look a bit at the ARK Invest case, you know, the investment fund, the ETF, I think it is actually, that have predicted that there was some possibility of Tesla going to $22,000. I'll have a look at that. So first of all, let's have a look at the graph of Tesla. And as you can see, if you haven't followed any news or any stock exchange charts here, Tesla has been going up. They have not just been going up, they have been exploding in price. From back here in October 19, they were up at the high something like 750%, and right now they are a bit down, and we'll have a look at why that might be. All right, first of all, what we are seeing here is a hype. I know that in this video there'll be a lot of emotions among many of you, because the entire EV market right now is pretty much based on emotions. Of course, also some analysis. But I know from my videos about Nikola and Harleon and Workhorse and what they call all of these EV kind of sector stocks, that people's emotions are getting into play here. And let me just remind you that the most expensive way of investing is investing with your emotions. So you are welcome to think differently of Tesla than I do in this video. But please, if you write in my comment section, come up with some knowledge, some analysis, some facts to the table, instead of just being mad at me and saying that your feeling about the stock is different, because we cannot really use that for anything. Come up with some decent, clever analysis, and we'll have a look at it. All right, first of all, I was in Tesla stock. I wrote it to some of you out here. I went in around 10:50 here. That was actually on my birthday here, the 30th of June, and a bit more at 11:10 the day after. And I sold the other day. Let me just give you a quick explanation as to why. Because when we see a hype stock in a hype sector, as we have seen lately, then we see these explosive moves. And what I do, I mentioned that in several videos, what I do there is that I go down into a lower time frame, and I went into my 4-hour time frame and said, now the price had kind of established itself below the black line, which is the 20 SMA, and that is enough for me. Now, stocks like this, I primarily swing trade. I'll get into later in the video why. But meaning that I am going in down here around 10:50 when the 20 SMA breaks, or when the price breaks the 20 SMA, I should say. And then when the stock establishes itself under the 20 SMA, I exit again. I take a nice profit and I can go in again later. So that's the short explanation for that. Now, let me give you a quick analysis of what I think can carry the price upwards right now and what can push it downwards. I'm not going to go in depth with all the numbers, all the productions numbers, all the different models and so on, because there are different possibilities and different problems with each of them. I made a video, I think it was in the fall last year, where I explained why I didn't invest in Tesla. And that was just around here, and I didn't invest in it because there were so many issues with their production facilities, with their new factories and so on. And I don't like investing in stocks where there are a ton of unknown problems that are just waiting to pop up. So I felt a bit like Tesla was a ticking time bomb. And then we had this huge run up here, and I can tell you right away, this run up from around 400 up to the 900s here before it dropped down in the crash here in the spring was what we call a short squeeze. And I'll get back into that in a second, but that basically means that a lot of large funds and private investors had gone short in Tesla here. And all of a sudden it started to go up, and it went up quickly, and these short positions were simply squeezed. They had to buy the stocks back from the market so that they could cover the shorts, and that is something that brings the price up. My opinion is that that is not entirely what we have seen here lately. That is more of a hype that was pretty much started. Well, we can just have a look at the slide here. We can take some of the some of the bullet points here. The short cover, as I mentioned, I'm pretty sure that most of the shorts were pressed out here. One of the charts we can look at that is here, where we can see this is a chart that shows you how many short positions or how much leverage there are in the short positions back from 2012 and up until now. And what we can see here is the blue line is the Tesla days to cover short, and that is where they are looking at the number of floating stocks, meaning how many stocks are actually available out in the market and how many are short. And then the blue line here shows how many days of normal trading on normal average trading it would take to cover all of the short positions. And we were up at a moment here, and I think it was in 2012 or 2013, when it would where it would take more than a month of a just normal average volume daily to cover all of the short positions. And then we had down here, we had a number of around 5 or 7 or something like that, and that was here in the autumn here, when the prices shot up, and we can see that the shorts were covered, all of the shorts were burned. And then lately here in 2020 we have actually had quite a low number of short position. It has only been taken 1.2 days of just normal average volume to cover all the short position. So that is my reason why I would not say that this is a short squeeze. This is simply a hype. And this hype started at a certain point, in my opinion at least. The catalyst of this hype is another stock, and that is the Nikola. And I have made some very critical videos about that. I actually mentioned up here that I thought it could easily be seeing $20 or $30 in a reasonably near future. I got a lot of critics for that, but right now it is at $29.92, so we're just about there. But they made their reverse merger, and that really made the stock market open their eyes for the possibilities of a new hype. And that is where the entire EV, the entire electrical vehicle hype started and went up like crazy. And we can see that was somewhere here, started in March, April. And if we are looking at the Tesla stock here, we can see that was just about the same time, where Tesla now from a bottom and to a top is up 415%. So this is basically a hype scenario, in my opinion at least. Now, this is a slide telling you about some of the things that I think can carry Tesla up. And I set this short cover and then a question mark, and that is because I don't really think that the short positions, people getting out of the short positions, I don't think that can really run it up any further. I don't think the shorts are particularly strong right now. They are a pioneer and a leader in the industry. There is the upcoming battery day, as I write about down here. I think it is 22nd of September, something like that, where they're coming up with their long-awaited battery day. And I think actually that is something that can kind of boost Tesla again, maybe, if what they come up with is good. But I'll get back to that later when we get into the ARC scenario. But I actually think that they are extremely well positioned if they have enough money, if they have enough free cash flow to actually fulfill their visions. I can say, and I hope you're not doubting that, I love the visions. I love Elon Musk as a visionary leader. However, sometimes, of course, he gets a bit eccentric, but that is how that is. Now, lately they came out with some good numbers. and showing that they were starting to make some money. And that is one of the factors, of course, that can lift the stock up. But what that can do, making money, I think it was 4 quarters in a row, that is one of the criteria to be included in the S&P 500 if you are large enough stock. As I will get back to in a second, these numbers they have come out with, there have been a lot of critical voices saying that they were manipulated, and I tend to agree with that, and I can tell you a bit about that in a second without going too much into details. But if they are included in the S&P 500, I'm not even sure when that is announced, but that is it in a few weeks, something like that. If they are included in the S&P 500, then normally what we see with stocks when they are including in a large index, then they get a lot more focus, and that often lifts the stock up. Then of course there is the EV hype, and the question is that EV hype over? I'm not entirely sure that it is over, but at least the EV hype has helped lift Tesla up lately, and we have seen, I made a video with, I think it was 12 or 14 different EV stocks, and why I think it is a bubble and a hype right now is that every time a stock comes out with an IPO, reverse merger, or just saying, hey, have you remembered us? We are also an EV company. Then the market simply explodes. Everybody's running in that direction. You can see it here from if you know the term Robinhood traders. Robinhood is this US-based retail trader, and there are pretty much amateur traders, all of them. And I often look at this. I don't even recall the date, but this was in the middle of the hype. And you can see within 30 days, the Tesla stock, this is the number of Robinhood broker accounts that owns Tesla stocks. And you can see that in the beginning of this 30-day period, there was 306,000 accounts having Tesla stocks. And within 30 days, that number has gone up more than 50% to almost half a million different accounts. So that is kind of showing what kind of hype we're talking about here. Number 2 was Amazon, but then we have NIO and we have Workhorse, which is also 2 of the EV hype stocks. Then, of course, I might say we have Apple, and this one, I think this one is the one that has been in play for a possible virus vaccine. I'm not 100% certain here, but I think it is. And but this is, as you can see, in top 6 we have 3 of these EV hype stocks. So the EV hype definitely has helped Tesla go up. Now, another thing here is, as far as I can read, there are around 200 million stocks free floating, meaning that there are 200 million stocks that is possible to buy on the stock exchange. The rest of them are locked down or owned by funds or something like that. But of these 200 million stocks, the 87% of these are owned by large institutions, and they tend to hold on to the stocks a bit longer term, meaning that they're only 13% of the 200 million stocks that are actually in free play for us to run for as amateur investors. And when we have a hype like this, EV hype, and there are only relatively few stocks, of course, that will make the stock go up further. Also, if we have a short squeeze situation, then that will make the run for the stocks even harder. All right, we have the battery day upcoming, and I am very excited about that. I'll get to that later because I think that is one. If they come up with what I hope and think they do, then that is what might be able to carry Tesla sometime in the future to $22,000. They do have positive cash flow, and let's just have a quick look at the fundamentals here, because basically this is in Stockopedia. As always, we can see the momentum is great. The quality is not amazing, but it has been going up a bit. There is some growth in earnings per share. As I said, I'll get back to that a bit later. The earnings per share normalized, the estimates are that they will be up in the positive on a year-to-year basis. As we can see, operating cash flow has actually been positive for the last couple of years, with some dropping capex here, capital expenditures, making 2019 a positive cash flow year. And that is actually a very positive thing in my book that they are starting to have positive cash flow. There are different people criticizing these numbers as well. They might be a bit manipulated, but as you can see, working capital, they actually have money in the hand right now, so they don't necessarily have to go out and borrow or sell extra stock. However, I think that there will be some that there will be sold some extra stock. I think they will offer extra stocks to the market, especially at the price we are seeing right now. But as we can see, the net debt is going down, and actually I think the situation today is better than a year ago. However, it is nowhere perfect, and we can dive into all of these numbers. But basically, what I do like about these numbers is that in these dire situations we have seen in the spring with the virus and the crisis and all this, they actually managed to get decently through this spring, and many of the other car manufacturers have been taking a lot more of a hit this spring. So I think Tesla is on its right way. So I must say that the reason why I jumped on the stock, I do like the company, the management and so on, but the reason why I jumped on the stock was that we were in the middle of a bull market. We were in the middle of a bull market, but the market was going up. We were in, this was in a hype sector, and this was a good solid hype stock. So that was the reason, but I was also very clear to my subscribers, over here, that I would take a short term exit, and I wrote out to them the other day that now I had exited. All right, that was the positive part of it. There are also some negative parts, and that is definitely, I think the short squeeze, the short cover is over. I also kind of think that the hype is over, at least 80% of it. I don't think that the Robinhood traders, as I call pretty much all amateur traders, all of us dumb money, I think that what people have seen in the Nikola stock has convinced them that a lot of these companies are running on hot air, and especially Nikola, as you know, if you have seen my videos there, I'm definitely not impressed by them, and definitely not impressed by Trevor Milton, the CEO. But that is an entirely different story. There are people that have bought up in the range around 60, 70, almost up to $100 that are now sitting on a hefty loss, and I doubt that they will ever get up into this level, or at least that'll be quite a while. I think this had opened people's eyes onto that this might not go up into the sky forever. So if we're looking at the negative here, I can see that there might be some pressure downwards on the overall market when we are looking at, and it's not because this should be about the virus and the crisis, but I do think that we have not seen the last bit of that, and I think especially United States will be hit quite hard here in the autumn by it. Right now it is looking quite bad with the virus and the number of deaths, and the country shutting down again. So I think this will also hit Tesla, and we have seen in the spring, as well with all other businesses, that their factories have been hit by Corona and been shut down. Also, right now, United States is entering into a really rough Cold War with China. And Tesla is quite hardly exposed to China with the factories, with the sales of Teslas. And I think they can run into some problems there. I'm not 100% certain as to what the government in United States can do as to limiting their possibilities of selling. But it might be so that China is actually doing a lot of effort to shut Tesla down if this Cold War continues to escalate, and they might be running for their own candidates instead. They have the BYD and the NIO, and I think there are a couple of other manufacturers out there, and they might to annoy United States, they might be hitting on Tesla and exposing their own manufacturers to the market instead. Then of course there is the thing that Tesla has been going up a lot, and many of the large funds that own Tesla stocks, they have a policy saying that they can only have X amount of percent of their entire capital in one stock. Meaning that when the Tesla stock is going up and they have earned 2 or 3 or 400% of one stock, they have to go out and sell it. And that can be once per quarter, once per month. There are different rules in the different funds. But if, for instance, ARK Invest are all of a sudden very hardly exposed to Tesla, they simply have to unload a lot of the Tesla stocks just to keep within their investment rules. And that is a thing that can also be pressuring this entire the Tesla and the entire hype EV sector here downwards. People have simply made too much money here, so now the stocks are filling up too much in their portfolio. So that's in the short run. And to be honest, I have absolutely no idea if Tesla will be in 500 or in 2500 in a few months. I never try to guess where the market will go, and when people are asking me what is your target on Tesla, I haven't got the faintest clue, because I am using my technical analysis, and when the trend seems to break, well, then I get out, and if it turns back on, well, then I enter again. That's how I control my risk. But this was the short-term view. Now, then we have the longer-term view. And let me just, I just made a little slide here. Because what I think many analysts have forgotten about Tesla, and I've been saying this for a while, is that they have been looking at Tesla as a car company and analyzed it as a car company. But Tesla is so much more than a car company. Of course, cars is where they're mostly exposed right now. But when we look into the future and the different products they have, maybe a skeptic analyst would say, yeah, well, they have their focus too many places and their liquidity is running thin. And last autumn, they were pretty much 14 days away from running out of liquidity and have to close shop. But right now, it looks a lot better. But what people mostly say is Tesla is cars. But they are so much more. And what I think when I see Tesla in the long run is that I think Apple. If you look at Apple, they are not just iPhones, or they are not just their laptops, or they are not just their AirPods. They are a combination of it all. They are their iTunes, their iTV, their iBanking, they are everything, and they are weaving it all together so that if once you are hooked and you're trying to, or you have weaved all of these products together, then you cannot just go out and buy a Samsung or a Huawei telephone, because it will not fit into the entire system. And all of a sudden you cannot use your telephone to program your television with, and so on. So you're pretty much addicted, in a good way, of course. But what I see Tesla building a system. So they have, of course, the cars, and right now that is running liquidity into the business. But another thing is they have the battery tech. And if they come up with what I hope and think they will here in September, then they will be second to none when it comes to battery tech. I know that Nikola has come out and saying, yeah, well, we are coming out with a battery that can do twice as much power at half the price and half the space than Tesla. The thing is that the Tesla batteries, you can track them or kind of follow where they're going, because there are a lot of white papers. A lot of the scientists they're working with are doing some research papers, so you can kind of track in what direction they're working towards the solid state. They are working to reduce the cobalt in the batteries. They have reduced that with 2/3 by now, pretty much, and you can follow that from the research papers. In the Nikola case, there are no research papers. There's nothing. So let's forget about them. I see Tesla as one of the main players in the field. Right now, the top 5 battery producers and researchers in the world, 4 of them have Tesla as a primary influencer in the company. So, of course, they have the batteries that will play into the cars. But the batteries will also play into the Tesla, the power wall, where you can storage power. And actually right now Tesla is becoming a huge player in this virtual power plant, the VPP, where, for instance, in Australia, they are running up a project right now. In a couple of years, they will have 50,000 houses with solar roofs producing power to both to their own power walls, but also to huge power storage stations. So they are building a grid, electricity grid. And what I think Tesla is actually aiming for is, of course, they want to be large in the car market, but what they are aiming for is they want to be our power provider. They want to be our electricity provider in the future. And if they can do that, we are up in the league with the Rockefellers and Standard Oil back in the early 1900s and so on. And I think that is where Tesla is going. I have no idea if they will get there, because that has a lot to do with the investors' patience and the liquidity and so on. But I think they are building a good system. Of course, also the power charging stations helping their own cars. And of course, their upcoming trucks, semi-trucks here. Another thing that might not actually ever be a big thing, but that is Tesla electrical bicycles here. So that when you are sitting that up in the back of your Cybertruck, that will automatically recharge and all of that stuff. Another very big thing that is one of the reasons why the ARK Invest is mentioning the $22,000 mark is the robotaxi. That is simply self-controlled, self-steering Teslas that is going to function as a network of taxis. And I think that Elon Musk has a vision about building this network out over the entire United States, but also actually in the entire, at least developed world, so that he will revolutionize the entire transportation business. So I think if you think just this part can be an entirely self-driven Uber division here, and that's just a part of it. But if they get this up and running, and there are different analysts saying different things about this, some are very skeptical and saying this is 30 years out in the future, and some are saying no, they are just about there. I have no idea how far they are. I know that some of the tech that they need to get up and running to have self-steering cars, that is the 5G network, and that is not really rolled out over the entire world yet. So let's see where that is going. But of course, Tesla has other divisions as well and other products in the line. But what I'm trying to show you here with all the lines here, also of course they're building the cars so they can use them in the robo-taxi part here. And what we are going to see is that Tesla, if they succeed, simply builds an entirely power system. And if they succeed with that, I see absolutely no reason why the stock could not go to 22,000. However, this is not in the near future, but if we are looking at the ARK Invest, they have this. They had different scenarios, and what you should realize with, let me just see here. I think they have. Yeah, I have a couple of links here to you, and I put them in the text below the video. But what they said in the beginning is they mentioned Tesla at $7,000, and people were outraged. And I must admit that myself, I was thinking, 7,000, that is quite a lot. But what you have to realize when we are looking at big funds like this is that they were actually not saying that we are certain Tesla will hit 7,000. What they do is that they build a number of different scenarios. And as you can see, of course, they have a bear case. And almost the worst case, as I'll show you in a second, it is not the entirely worst case, but the bear case is that the 2024 price target would be 1,500. That would mean that they would actually not move for the next 4 years because they are already there. Their bull case, and this is a bit of an earlier scenario, is 15,000. And what they do is that they build different scenarios. And talk about likelihood. And that is something many private investors could definitely learn from, because what we often do is that we say, all right, this stock is either going to be a success or not. And of course, we only believe in the successes, so we buy the stock and we aim for one target. But what they kind of do is that they build an entire strategy board of different scenarios, talking about likelihoods and building cases where they're saying, if we should invest in this, we want to see the worst case, the best case, and somewhere in between. And then they're building their portfolios up over that. As you can see, I think I have it here on a slide. As you can see, they have the black swan event. For one reason or another, Tesla goes bankrupt. All right, the 2024 price target would be $0. Not many investors dare to think about that bankruptcy scenario, but of course a serious fund will do that. All right, there's another scenario. Capital market closed. Nothing goes right for Tesla and no one is willing to provide capital. It's not very likely, but they have to consider it. And if that is the case, they think that the price target will be $300. All right, there's a struggle bus. Nothing goes right for Tesla. It can't lower costs, build factories efficiently, or launch its autonomous network. That would make it 750. And then on up at the ladder here, and of course the golden goose up here, Tesla lowers cost, builds factories efficiently, and launches its autonomous network, and that would be the $22,000 target. But they're not saying it will reach $22,000. They're talking about probabilities and making a case for having a positive expected value of their investment. And that is something that is extremely important to understand when we talk about this. So in the long run, I hope, and this is me saying that I hope, and there are some emotions in here, even though I said we should not mix emotions into the equation here, but I hope Tesla succeeds. I actually hope all of these EV companies will succeed because we might see a better future. We already see now that the cost of, for instance, solar energy has plummeted over the last 10 years. The dollars per megawatt hour here has gone from above 350 and down to below 50, and it will go even lower. And it is competing with coal and oil and so on. So I really hope deep inside that all of these companies will succeed. But when I think of Tesla, I see a company that is building one of the most visionary and amazing networks. And as I said, will they succeed with it? I have absolutely no idea. So I will not buy into Tesla and just saying, I will hold Tesla forever, because I'm 100% certain they will succeed with all of this, because I don't. But I have Tesla as a very, very positive bullish case over the next years. And then when I see a scenario where I get a good buy signal, then I buy, because then I have the entire case built up. I want to see it do better than the overall market. I want to see my timing indicators going right and so on, and then I'll buy, and I can let you know once in a while what I think about it. But it's just to say that in the short run, right now, I think there are things putting a pressure on the market. I might be wrong, and on Monday it might shoot up, and then I might just buy it again. And that is a good thing, at least for me. The way I invest is that I don't have feelings in here. I don't have absolutely no problem telling you that I exited Tesla, and I have no problem Monday or Tuesday saying to you again, now I went in again, because that is part of my plan. That is not me failing. That is not me. That is simply just my strategy to minimize my risk and make sure that my money are only invested in things that are moving in the right direction according to my rules. So I'm not trying to guess Tesla's direction. I'm not trying to guess if they fulfill all of their goals, but I think there is a fair chance actually that they will get here. And we have not yet talked about the SpaceX or any of the other things. I think that will be an IPO all of itself, but this is my case for Tesla. In the short run, I think there's a pressure downwards. In the long run, I think and also hope that they will succeed building one of the most amazing power producing and transportational the companies in the world. When you look at the top 10 companies in the world, they are pretty much car producers and oil companies, energy companies. And what we see here, if Tesla succeed, is a combination of transportation and energy into one, and that can be extremely powerful and amazing to watch. I hope this gave you a bit of an outlook on Tesla, maybe a bit of another outlook than many analysts give you. Feel free to put some questions below the video, comment and say what you think about Tesla, and remember to subscribe to the video. Take care of yourself and your money out there. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye for now.